Ramakrishna Sharanam. Namaste everyone. I'm just seeing.
Jai Ram Krishna, Namaste.
Jai Ramakrishna. Namaste everyone. As we are discussing every day some topic of Swami Vivekananda. So today our topic of discussion is Swami Vivekananda's patriotism. Swami Vivekananda, as Subhash Chandra Bose himself said, the origin of this movement, freedom movement, started with Swami Vivekananda only, because before Swami Vivekananda, no one could identify what our core strength is. Everyone wants to fight and defend, try to get the freedom, but we lost what our core strength is. Swami Vivekananda really identified our core strengths and what are the problems of India. So he gave the direction. He gave the direction to the freedom movement. So we all try to today try to see, get everyone's perspective on what is the role of Swami Vivekananda in the freedom movement and what are his patriotic views overall. So I request Tushar brother to start the discussion.
Yeah, my humble pranams to all of you. Now, as we know, Swamiji was very much patriotic. In some sense, we can also say, as the sister Nivedita used to say, uh, that he is the condensed India. So, and I also, if I am not wrong, the Bharat Mata term was the first time used by Swamiji only. Later on, it became popular and it was on the lips of each and every one freedom fighter when India was colonized, especially, that we have to fight for the Bharat Mata, we have to make her independent, and all that. So, uh, what I want to speak on Swamiji's patriotism was that he was very much caring, he was very much devotional to the weak, to the weaker one, weaker section of the society. He always said that you say that matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava, but I say that daridro devo bhava, means the poor section of the society, the weaker section of the society, and all those who are very much underprivileged, especially of India, are the ones in whom we should see the Lord Shiva, and we should practically worship them rather than going to the temples and worship the idols. So that's the practical religion, what Vedanta had termed, and and he gave many formulas how we can exclusively worship the Shiva in each one of the underprivileged ones of our own country. So that's the kind of most one of the most supreme guidance we got from the Swamiji's literature and his teachings, that we can follow it even today. Even today, India is suffering from all those casteism problems and political problems. But if we follow that in our way, that we have to worship the poor ones, and practically we should try all the ways so that their misery can be turned into happiness, and we can serve them by considering them particularly as God himself. So that kind of patriotism, and they are every poor being in our country is the Shiva himself. In that sense, if we serve our country, then that will be the biggest service which we can render to our country, and that's the Bharat Mata which we have. So, what I have learned from the Swamiji's teachings is that not only uh, every should apply himself or herself to the to the service of the country in his or her own way, in his or her own nature that suits his or her nature. Means it will mean that if someone wants to serve the country from a violence point of view, violence in the sense self defense point of view, like we know that Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, and many one revolutionaries, they all handled the guns, and through the guns they fired that spirit of independence. Whereas if you term the Mahatma Gandhi, or the genuine non-violencers like him, sorry, yes, non-violencers like him, then you will find that there was the Satyagraha movement was totally non-violence fundamentally. But there were other ways also, like Subhash Chandra Bose and Lokmanya Tilak and all that, who followed Swamiji's teachings exclusively. So Swami Vivekananda's patriotism had a great relation to what Subhash Chandra Bose rendered the service, how he rendered in his own way, according to his own nature, the way patriotism should be in his or her own interest. In that way, Subhash Chandra Bose pursued the entire his entire works, and Bhagat Singh also, Chandrasekhar Azad also, and in the same way, the revolutionaries as well as the Mahatma Gandhis, Nehru, Patel was a different section. We all know both were following the Swamijis in their own way. The violence section, the self-defensive section, and the renunciation ones, means those who followed the path of renouncers, such as Acharya Vinoba and all that. So I I will consider from my point of view is that what I have followed Swamiji in my life is that I have done the research work. It will be shocking for all of us, almost all of us, to know that I have I have very much I have very much inquired about the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipses on the planet Saturn, because Saturn is something I'm little bit moving away, but I'm coming to the point. Because Saturn is usually, we use the term by the astrologers, Sadhe Sati. Sadhe Sati is the term used in the term in the by the astrologers, that is very much bad for the men or women who are suffering in the India, and they use the term in the astrology. So I was very curious to know about the Saturn. So yes, we all know that Saturn has almost 63 moons. So there I found something very much interesting, and I applied my brain, and that was also because of the Vedanta attitude only. I I prepared the blueprints of the lunar eclipses and the solar eclipses possibility on the Saturn, which is very much based on the imagination and creativity. So what I thought that I should take it as it my in my own career. But the point is, if you will research, you will find out that the cosmology is such a department of the in the modern science that is not pursued in any of the institutions, no matter whether it is the topmost institution of our country, or even in the IISc Bangalore. You would be knowing that is the one of the most advanced research institute of our country, established by the JRD and ideas on the Swamiji himself and JRD Tata. There also cosmology is not studied. What I am taking this point, because the cosmology is very much, cosmologists are not found in this our country, but my department was the cosmology only. So in order to pursue the advanced research in the cosmology, I was I was very much I was very much interested that I should move on to the US, and then I should pursue my studies. But what happened that I had to choose either of my parents in this country, the love and affection which I got from the Swamiji, which I got from the Swamiji especially, in order to that I was to leave, because so that I can pursue my studies, further studies in the US. And that was a great deal for me. Means, if I would have left my country and my parents here, then that would not have been a noble cause. Means, even for a noble purpose, but that would not have been a noble work. So it was the Swamiji's love for the India, the nationalist which he was, which influenced me to even renounce the whole study system, my study, to leave the research work in between, rather than carrying it forward, and to look into the eyes of the poor, downtrodden ones, as the Lord Shiva themselves, and serve them in spite of thinking of I, because that I obsession was killing me also. And that I was carrying, I was very much considered about that I obsession, that I am a cosmologist, and why should I spend any time in my country if there is no scope for the cosmology department in my country? I should pursue my studies in some other country, where, such as the United States, or other country, or the other countries of Europe, where it is a very celebrated subject. Why should I compromise? But everywhere there was the I obsession. That I obsession was very dry, There was no moisture in that. And that is why I decided that no, I should look into the eyes of the poor ones, the downtrodden ones, and I should work for them. I should have a genuine compassion for them, and that my compassion should work, that should reflect, in should reflect. And that is the point of view of mine, which I have been gifted from the means I have been gifted from the Swamijis. Today I have no name in the cosmology department. I have no name. I'm not a star in that, even though I was inspired very much by the Stephen Hawking's. But I renounced everything, and today I'm working just simply as a professional, and earning some money, and that too just for the sake of those downtrodden ones, in which whom I look Shiva directly. And even I don't hesitate to say that all the panelist members here present, and the since our video is streaming live, so those who are present here, in those people also, and in the entire people of India, and in the entire world, I see oneness, that is the Lord Shiva himself. So that's all my point, and I would like to end here only. So that's it. Namaste.
Thank you so much, brother, for your profound insights on Swami Vivekananda's patriotism. Now I request Balaji brother to speak on the same subject.
Namaste, brother. Salutations to my Divine Mother Kali, and salutations to the Holy Trio, and namaste, everyone. And thank you, brother. Thank you, and namaste, all the panelists here and everyone who have joined. Thank you for joining. And most interesting topic, Swami Vivekananda's patriotism. You know, one word you can say. So if you had to say about Swami Vivekananda, he was condensed India. He was condensed India. If you wish to know India, read Swami Vivekananda. If you wish to know what is patriotism, read his book. Because I have already shared this when we were sharing the most important incidents for Swami Vivekananda. When he was a wandering monk, he visited many kingdoms, right? So he went to one of the kings, Indian kings. He said he wanted to do something to India because he wanted to uplift the masses. And then the king said, a monk should not have any particular attachment to a country. You have renounced everything. Swami Vivekananda immediately said, if I don't love my mother, how will I love the mothers of others? He meant patriotism first and then universalism. That burning patriotism was in his heart. So wherever he went, so he as a wandering monk, he walked from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So he walked and he took train whenever people got him tickets. But wherever he went, he saw poor people suffering. And that burnt his heart. So he wanted to do something. And also, there was then British colonization. And heart was burning with that patriotism. He wanted to do something. He had that load in his heart. He went everywhere. It was in Kanyakumari when he meditated on the Swami Vivekananda rock. Right now, we have a place there. So he closed his eyes and meditated for almost 3 days. And the only idea, his future mission came before his eyes, that was to regenerate India, uplift the poor masses. But he needed money for that. And when he went to USA, it was not for his name and fame. He also said that it is not for my name and fame. I want to do something for my country, but I don't know where to collect the money from. So I traveled across the ocean to come to this strange country so that I can earn something and do something for my country. It was it was patriotism. It was love for the country, love for the poor people here. That took him across the ocean. He was not after name, fame. After all, he gave up everything. He has renounced everything, but he didn't renounce the love for the nation. That patriotism, he wasn't able to renounce. See, he even left his mom for the sake of the Swami Ramakrishna's work, but he didn't leave the patriotism in his heart, the love for his country. One sister, Christine, said, whenever Swamiji said India, that would create a thrill in him. There will be love, passion, that patriotism in his heart. Even they were astounded to see that word said by Swami Vivekananda, so much power. When he said India, the love will come from his heart for that word, and that will be emotion attached to it. See how much he loved India when he had that emotion attached to that word. And Sister Christine clearly said that whenever he said India, we were taken aback because that emotion, that love, that patriotism, the passion for the country will come to surface. Once Josephine MacLeod asked Swami Vivekananda, what can I do for you? He said, love India. See the reply, love India. He didn't say anything else. What can I do for you, Swamiji? Love India. That much he had that passion for the country in him. So to the youth, what he said, India's backbone is spirituality, religion. So as long as this backbone is strong, India will always be the conqueror. And one instruction he gave to the youngsters, what did he say? So you would hear monks asking you to attain self-realization. You will see monks asking you to do karma yoga, bhakti yoga. He said all these, but one more thing he said in India when he gave lectures, my dream is that India should conquer the world with its spirituality. Nothing less than that is my ideal. This may astonish you many, but it is so. He wanted youngsters to conquer the world with the spirituality. Because India, the whole world requires light. India alone has that light. He wrote it in one of the letters. What light? He talks about spiritual light. So he was so proud that India has always been the carrier of spiritual light to the world. And India has already done that. Imagine the period. We always have produced great saints, great sages, great lights that traveled all over the world to give the light of spirituality. So he was so proud of it. He once said, I'm so proud of my ancestors. And you should also make your ancestors proud. Do something for the nation. The nation will be with you. He says, do something for the nation. The nation will be with you. Do something. Do something heroic. And when one of the disciples said, some youngsters with burning patriotism and renunciation are needed. Patriotism and renunciation are needed. But he was not happy that he couldn't get such youngsters, that patriotism renunciation. And in USA, when he has done the Chicago conference, right? So he went home and then, he was very successful in Chicago conference. So what they did is, in USA, many rich people were ready to give him accommodation. They thought it's a privilege to allow Swami in the houses, ask him to stay. So Swamiji said, there are many beautiful houses waiting for me to stay here. But he said, India, with all thy faults, I love thee. Because he was he could have stayed in America itself forever. He had so many rich houses waiting for him. But he always said, India, with all thy faults, I love thee. because that was his patriotism. And when he was given the cozy bed, luxurious house, he was not able to sleep on the cozy bed. He rolled on the floor at night without sleeping, and he cried, "Oh, my mother, divine mother, I am given all these comforts here, and people are sleeping in comforts here. But in my country, people are starving for food. Why should I don't like to enjoy this luxury. Show me the way to get them out of it. What should I do?" That was the patriotism. He didn't think that, oh, I got this luxury now. Why should I go back to India? Why should I worry about it? No, always he had that patriotism in his heart, burning patriotism. So he loved this country so much that patriotism was burning like the fire. See, even at 4 years, he completed his Western. He conquered the West by his light, we know, by his knowledge. And when he returned to India, a Westerner asked Swamiji, "How do you feel about India after 4 years stay in the luxurious, beautiful West, powerful West?" Swamiji said, "India I loved before. Now the very dust of India is holy to me. The Tirtha, holy pilgrimage. He took the soil from the ground and he was praying. That was his patriotism. He didn't say, "Oh, West, I loved it, I enjoyed it." He said, "Now the very dust of India is holy to me. Then I loved. Now the very dust is holy to me." That's the patriotism he had for the country. He claims, "Do you love your country? Then let us do iron better things. Stop not, even if you see the nearest and dearest one cry." That is renunciation. If you have love for the nation, you should do something for it. Of course, you'll have to renounce everything. At least mentally, even if you see the nearest and dearest one cry, don't worry, don't stop. Move forward. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Do something for the nation. Lift the people up. And India, what is India's backbone? As Swamiji always says, if India does not give up its spirituality, no one can conquer India. Ours is not materialization. We are famous. Our backbone is religion. Our backbone is spirituality. So Swamiji, as long as you hold on to it, India will always be on the top. So, and he is predicted even 50 years before the independence that India will be free in the next 50 years. But obviously that became true because he wanted that, he could not see the suffering of the people. He always wanted India to be on the top. And wherever he went, he never failed to talk about India. No matter in which Western country he went, he represented India. He loved even some people, when he was talking, when he was giving a lecture, there was an old man, some British or Irish, I think, someone came and he was mocking our traditions. And immediately Swamiji, first he ignored, later he started telling about all the atrocities that British government did to India then this person could not control his tears. How can a person be so bold that even to me he is courageously talking about mine? That was his. He could not withstand anybody talking ill of India. Wherever he went, you can't talk, anyone could not talk ill of India. He could not tolerate that. Imagine, he is a monk who gave up everything, who left the country, but still, even now you see many people coming and telling, "No, India, there's nothing. I got to go back abroad. I got to go abroad. We'll have a luxurious life there." And they don't plan to come back. They don't like they're going. It's okay, they can go, but what are you going to do for the country that served you? Patriotism is not a feeling, it's an emotion, I tell you. Patriotism is emotion. Obviously, the love for the country will come to you. If you really, are so inclined towards Swami Vivekananda, patriotism will eventually become an emotion. You can't even imagine how deeply you will start loving your nation. And when you read his books, definitely that will create the burning. But that's why Swamiji was condensed to India. That's why Swamiji was condensed here. That's why he loved India so much. So whenever you read his books, obviously that patriotism will become your very emotion. So you will stick to that. Wherever he went, he was speaking so good about India. He can't tolerate anyone talking ill about India. And his only thought was how to do good to my country, how to serve my country. And that's when the idea came, he should build an organization. India needs an organization through which the poor can be served, and light of spirituality can be given to the people. That's when he created this organization, Sri Ramakrishna Math. So he was always, day and night, only thought that was going in his mind of India, how to do good to the India. Even when Sister Nivedita said she wants to come to India, he was so happy, and he said you can come to India, but there are some defects, but you shouldn't mind them. But India needs some lioness like you. So I was proud to have her. So you could not see any people suffering, and that will create intense emotions in him. He will start crying out his heart whenever see people crying, and he always wanted something to be done for them, and that actually forced him to leave the country. So whenever you read Swami Vivekananda, you will know that love he had for. And definitely, if you are so into it, into his teachings, you will also get that burning patriotism in you. You will prefer to do something for the nation. That's why he said, do something for the nation, and the nation will be with you. And if you love the nation, do not look back. Even if your nearest and dearest one cry, go forward, do something. India's banner is renunciation, patriotism, renunciation. He always says. So if you can't do that, hand over the flag to someone else carry out. Because those who renounce, we should take the spiritual light to the world. India has a duty of giving light of spiritual light to the world. That's what he says. India's duty is to give light spiritual to the world. The world is waiting for that. He always say the Western world is on volcano, so we need to give that light to them. So India carries forward that light, and it has done it so far. We have seen, we have produced, India has produced so many great spiritual giants always, and every time when there is some decline in the dharma factor or in this truth, someone will come and more, and they will come from India, and then they will travel all over the world and give that light and leave. So India has always produced that and will forever produce. Swami Vivekananda was so proud of that. India has produced such giants, and either India will keep producing. And said, soon India will sit again on a throne rejuvenated. We should see us seated on the throne rejuvenated. So we should work. We should all work. We should all uplift India. So he said, on our work depends the future of India. On our work depends the future of India. Let's work. So those who have the patriotism should do something to serve the people, and do something. Take the spiritual light. At least carry the message of Swami Vivekananda to the world, to the people. Uplift the people, uplift the masses, serve the masses. And if you really have that patriotism, if you really wish to do something, and then surrender to Swami Vivekananda, he will show you the way. He will show you the light, because it's not like he loved India. He still loves India. Only thing is he left the body, but the energy left behind is still here. The patriotism is still here. The love he had for India is still here. So if you wish to do something good for the nation, or good for everyone, just surrender to him and have that intense patriotism in your heart, and be ready to give up for the nation. Do something, and whatever obstacles may come your way, Swamiji will help to get rid of them. And also God will help you definitely. And spiritual light, you should take the banner of that renunciation, march everywhere. That's what Swamiji said. And let us all make a resolve to do that. And whoever it is, let us carry the burning patriotism in our heart, as Swamiji said. And he wished that all youngsters, many youngsters should come up with burning patriotism and renunciation. And then he will channelize everything. So that love Swamiji had, it was no match. And the patriotism he had, no match. And he was extraordinary in that. And even Western people who came in contact with him, they started loving India because of his patriotism. Sister Nivedita was, she knew how much Swamiji loved India. And Sister Christine, Josephine MacLeod, everyone knew that love he had for India, and that made them to love India too. So anyways, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Babu brother. Take care. Namaste.
Thank you so much, brother, for your valuable insights. Now I request Pranit Sagar to share his insights.
Yes, thank you, Bhavana. My namaskar to everyone, all the panel members and the viewers. So, Swami Vivekananda is like really inspiration. We all know that 12th January is celebrated as National Youth Day. because he's such a great patriot, and we all love Swamiji because what he contributed to our country and to the world at large. So, lot of things we can learn from Swamiji because he's not a person who just speaks. He sacrificed himself. He sacrificed many things so that uh, this country and the world can go in the right path, which can practice truth for a long time. Swami Vivekananda, we can feel that practically, that when Swami Vivekananda is giving his message in Chicago, uh, when Swami Vivekananda said, like, sisters and brothers of America, now everyone felt that. As Balaji sir said that when you can't love your mother, how can you love others' mother or like other country? Like that, Swami Vivekananda loved his country so much that he is able to love even other countries like America and all the other countries. I think that's what connected everyone wholeheartedly. That they too felt that connection and they too felt that vibrations when Swamiji is delivering that only 5 words, that magical words, sisters and brothers of America. So he is like man of action. We can learn that thing. That, as just now Balaji sir said, he's not even able to sleep on that comfortable uh, or to enjoy all these luxuries. He is so sincere in his efforts. It's not that when someone is seeing you or watching you, you're doing something, and when no one is seeing you, so you'll do whatever you like. It's not like that. Swamiji is so pure and sincere in his efforts. So that thing we can learn, and uh, this sisters Nivedita and all others, how they got inspiration and they were like ready to sacrifice their life to come India and to serve people. So just by seeing Swamiji, they had and they built that faith that India is something amazing, and it's worth to sacrifice our life for that. So such a great this thing Swamiji took, uh, gave to the Western world, that India is something tremendous which no one has seen till then. So it's not about any other thing, but there is something called spirituality, and no one has means got experience in that thing. So Swamiji took that to the Western world and showed that this is what the other part of the society, because we see materialism lot, but spirituality is something different. So then they got an experience that okay, something other thing is also there. So people started uh, to experience even spiritual life, and they feel so attracted towards that thing, the concepts of spirituality and the way of life, and many adopted that lifestyle. They understood its value. In our country, some great person said that we love the country but not the men in like people in the country. Actually it happens practically. We all love our country, but we just love the country, not the people. So that's why whenever there's a small situation or something like that, we get back to our own nature, and we blame politics, we blame sports, we blame all these things, because we just love the country, not the people, not our surroundings and everything. So that is what the difference between a normal person and Swami Vivekananda. That he loved people. He showed you our practical ways that even being a monk, how much we can do as an individual to the country. So it's not about India, but even if I live in some other country, even if I learn patriotism from Swami Vivekananda, there is a lot to contribute to the country because it gives you a lot. So if I see from other countries' perspective, that Swami Vivekananda will be a great example to learn the real meaning of patriotism. It's like what you can do to the country, rather asking that what it gives to me. Obviously, you will get all the benefits from the country, but it is also, it's our individual responsibility to give back to the society. So I think patriotism is a great this thing. It expands our mind. Um, we pray, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. We pray, right? Swami Vivekananda says, what happens when you pray? This world won't may not change, but the world which you created in your mind will change. So like that, your mind will expand, your thought process will expand. So something tremendous happens in your mind. You're no more limited or narrow. your your thought process is expand, so your capacities expand in means even if you don't know, it happens naturally. So you become more powerful. So there's no need to do something tremendous. Just by expanding your heart, your thought process, everything expands. So it reflects in your work, it reflects in everything you do. So that's a great thing. I have seen a lot of people who sacrifice their life just because they love country, they love country people. I think the great sacrifices they have done, that's why we are enjoying all these comforts or like great life today. So we are so grateful and we need to be grateful. In schools and recently in theaters, people started to have that national anthem and all these things, and they celebrate something in schools and colleges when we see like 15th August and all these things. But they are like only celebrations, but we are somewhat missing the essence of patriotism. There we must learn all these things. We should not forget great sacrifices that our great people have done, right? And Swami Vivekananda is so sure. In modern technology or modern world, we got the clarity that wherever we focus, our mind expands there in whatever area. It may be depression, it may be concentration, or any particular subject or anything. So wherever we keep our mind, it expands that area. So it is clear. So Swamiji is so clear in his thoughts that uh, he said that if you focus for 50 years just on India, you will get freedom. Maybe some loss will happen, but surely you will get it. So we can expect that how much, being a monk, how much time Swamiji spent to understand all the problems, practical these things. Then he realized that okay, if people struggle truly, after 50 years they are going to get it. So the love he showed in his actions is such like something tremendous. I'm really so grateful for that, that uh, I got the chance to live in this such a great country. So it's not only about India. So this message of Swamiji about patriotism should reach to wider countries so that everyone knows, everyone should know and should able to love the country. And as Swami Vivekananda says, every country has its own uh, mission and purpose to do it. So if people know about that, then we can come together to serve this world in a greater perspective. So, and India has something a great treasure and responsibility, that we are blessed with this spiritual knowledge. So we have that mission to give the spirituality to the world. So it's a great thing to know and feel and be here. So yeah, Ryan, it's great to know. So yeah, that's what I want to share. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thanks, Pranit, for sharing your valuable insights. Now I request Arpan Das to share his thoughts on Swami Vivekananda's patriotism.
ओम नमः श्री अतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरय स्वचित सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. My namaskar to Revered Swamiji and all the panelists and all the speakers who are listening to this webinar. So today's topic is very interesting and quite important also. For that's like the patriotism and Swamiji. How was Swamiji patriotic? So these things are related today in this webinar. Almost most of the factual points and about Swamiji, the philosophies and on which these things were based on, the previous speakers have already spoken about it. and I'll speak a very little about all those points. So we know that the patriotic saint of India, we say Swamiji that he was the patriotic saint of India. So the reasons all are enlisted, like it's very clear, all the points and his life, so much austere and so holy life. It itself presents patriotism for this country. And his patriotism was also rooted in spirituality. His root of this patriotic feeling was rooted in spirituality. So we are also very familiar with the quote that charity begins at home. This the patriotic feeling for the country, for the service of the people of the country. These also grew with inside Swamiji, little, in small amount, just from his home. We have seen that while he was a young one, childhood, that hookah type of things, he had taken himself up. So, and his father scolded him that why are you taking these things and all those. But he said that the caste goes by taking it, but why my caste hasn't gone? Anything hasn't changed in me. This even small incidents like this has so great insights. Like he is willing to do the services, but he queries inside that whether am I going on the correct way? Is the caste really a matter for patriotic feelings, for love of my nation, the people whom I am going to love, all these things? Is it really so much important to see the caste and all those divisions? Do there exist any division actually for the patriotic feelings? So these were so great insights we have seen from Swamiji's life. And we also say that his Swamiji said once, I am just quoting it, his heart yearned for India and its people, even when he was offered the greatest. We have seen in US, he was so much in luxurious life. He was leading a very great life, but also his heart yearned for the country and the people of this nation. How great is it? A saint who has left everything, renounced his life. He said even like that, if my parents, if his mother and some of his brothers die of hunger, that won't matter. But the people of the nation, so many people of the nation are dependent, they are hungry. That touched him. So isn't it a great patriotic feeling for the country? So, and also, I would like to say that Swamiji's patriotism was rooted in spirituality, and apart from that, he also said like one who cannot feed his own mother can't feed the mother of the other. So it's also related, my country's countrymen. If I cannot love them, then how can I love others? This is also great insight to patriotic feelings of Swamiji. And these are what actually very important and insights growing from this. And at the individual level, he emphasized on taking up the responsibility of leading a life of purity. Swamiji was very particular about everything. Like previous speaker said already, that 50 years, if someone focuses on only the motherland, then India will obviously gain freedom. Just, just remember this: like 50 years of tenure. And one quote is also very means we have heard about it, like 12 years of brahmacharya. So this time period, he is so much particular about that, as like his guru Ramakrishna Paramahansadev. That particularness towards patriotism has contributed a lot. He has also emphasized all those values, that be pure from your heart, be pure. That purity, that austerity of life can itself turn into patriotic feelings for love, or love for the nation, or love for the people and everyone. That's the service. Throughout his life, he has been giving service and service and service to everyone. That's why the Ramakrishna Martin mission, it's also giving services to people, different types of services, and also serving. There's a spirituality. It's so the root of India, the spiritual values we have, we can conquer the world with that. Swamiji did the same. He has traveled throughout India for so long a time. Means sometimes he was hungry, sometimes he didn't receive just a drop of water. So great sacrifices and all the struggles he did for the love of nation. What was the need of him to travel throughout the world if he didn't love us? He said that I love you people so much, but I want that you people die while doing great for others. How much great and touching the quote is. It's like he loves us so much, but he wants to see us die for doing good to others, and that he will be happy to see. Our death is also very much happy, means blissful. It will be blissful if we serve the nation and be patriotic. This feeling, patriotism, love for nation, love for the people, nation, the men of the nation. These values he has emphasized, and we all can learn it, and at least very little services we can provide, as like this previous speaker spoke about it. It was very nice. So these values we can learn from him, and patriotism meant that all for Swamiji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, brothers, for speaking. Now may I request Sachin Dada to speak, so, share some of his insights on the topic.
Yeah, Namaskar everyone. If we just recollect, long back, Westerners used to look upon India as a country of snake charmers, illiterate and backward people. Okay, and we all know that Swamiji changed all that by putting India on the world map. I mean, before Swamiji had gone, such was the feeling that people used to come to India only to witness the poverty, the ignorance, and meet some snake charmers. So, what Swamiji did was he represented the country in a forceful manner, convincing the entire world that India has to offer something to the world. He pronounced in his entire stay for around 4 years in the West that if we Indians have to learn something from the West, the Western people also will have to learn something from us, which is spirituality. I think that was one of the greatest representation that he made for India, and only a patriot, a true patriot, can do that. That was one. The other thing was, if you remember, he started his Chicago address with a phrase. Till that time, people didn't have that idea that to start a session, there can be anything else than ladies and gentlemen. When he uttered Sisters and Brothers of America, okay, that actually introduced the power of India to the world, that you can call someone, some unknown person, a sister and brother also. That was a message. I mean, no wonder the large applause went on for, I think, almost 2-3 minutes. Okay, he had gone to the West, introduced Hinduism to the Western people, but not only did he introduce it to the Western people, but he also brought it to our countrymen who were steeped in poverty, ignorance, and had almost lost their faith. I mean, if you see our history, we had almost lost our faith. That was the reason of our of our condition that we were in. Therefore, his contribution to the world is introduction of Hinduism, but also revival of Hinduism in India. Again, this wouldn't have happened without he being a truest of true patriot. Also, I mean, what is patriotism? It is love for the country, right? Now it is a sign of love that you will defend a person whom you love with your life, and also you will not hesitate to scold that person if that person has done something wrong. So it was that sign of love which made him defend the country in the Western world. When they criticized India, he was like swords with them. I mean, of course, in words, but he had pulled out all the swords to defend India. But when the same Swami Vivekananda came back to India, he did not hold back himself from criticizing ourselves. He was pretty, I would say, very sharp in criticizing. He didn't, because he knew that there was a lot of things which were lacking in India, and we need to improve upon that. While we had the strength, the spirituality as our strength, we needed to improve on lot of other counts, and therefore he never hesitated in criticizing India or Indians for that matter. This was a sign of love, a very important note, but this is what a true patriot is like. He also realized, I mean, when he came back to India, he realized that India cannot make progress without taking in the materialism of West. While we have our spirituality, which we need to revive, which we need to practice a little more, but we need to have a Rajasic attitude. His words were, we had become tamasic now. Okay, and that is not for a decade or so, but centuries we have now become tamasic. To bring out our rajasic nature, we had to get into the materialism, and that is why even before going to US, when he met Jamshedji Tata on board the ship to Vancouver, he mentioned that, Mr. Tata, why don't you start manufacturing in our own country rather than just trading? Till that time, Tatas used to trade, but after the suggestion that Swamiji had given to Jamshedji Tata, they started manufacturing, and the rest is history. Today, we know how many people Tatas employ, and what is the contribution of Tatas to our economy. Okay. Uh, I think almost all of you mentioned his contribution to freedom fighters. When I speak to few people, there is a complaint about Swamiji. There is a grievance for Swamiji. Swamiji was such a talented person with such high intellect, with such high, strong personality, strong willpower. He could have become a freedom fighter. And if he had become a freedom fighter, then we could have got our freedom much earlier. That is a grievance that we have against Swamiji. I have heard him. This is something which has gone in live discussion with few people, but they forget that his job was not to do that. He inspired almost all freedom fighters. If he had got into the freedom fighter movement, okay, it would have perhaps taken a different course altogether. And what he did without participating in freedom movement, he couldn't have done by participating in freedom fighting movement on his own. He encouraged almost every freedom fighter that we know. We have his words. Gandhiji said that my love for my country has grown up 1,000 times, thousandfold. Can you imagine Gandhiji saying, we call Gandhiji the father of the nation, and the father of the nation is saying that the love for his country grew thousandfold after reading Swamiji. Netaji said that under the sacred influence of Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahans, my life got first awakened, or my first awakening came there. And if Swamiji was there today, he would have been my guru. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. I mean, these luminaries. So, therefore, my humble request to all those who feel that Swamiji has not done his bit by not participating in the freedom movement, please understand his job was to create freedom fighters. His job was to inspire freedom fighters, and not himself go into the field and do what the freedom fighters had done. So, what he could do was 1,000 times more then he single-handedly whatever he could have done. Okay. Also, he realized that spirituality is the strength of the nation, and time and again he had mentioned that the national ideals of India is renunciation and service, and therefore it should be. I mean, that should be intensified. Our efforts should be intensified in those channels. That is what will bring revival of India. He not only spoke, he did it. While you can speak, but it is very difficult to walk on that talk. What he did, based on these same things of renunciation and service, he established Ramakrishna Mission, Mutt and Mission. He gave a mission to everyone, Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitayacha. And that Jagat, although the word meant Jagat means world, but at that point of time, Jagat Hitayacha was only India. I have not spoken to Swamiji about this, but we can all feel that at that point of time when he uttered this Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitayacha, this Jagat was India for him. And he knew that if this India is revived, it will it has the capability, India has the capability to bring peace to the entire world. Okay. And my last part is that he could have actually, the success that he got in the West, he could have stayed back in US. He could have opened a big religious center, and with the kind of acceptance that people have in the Western world about these things, he could have led a very comfortable life, very comfortable life. But instead, after 3 to 4 years, 4 years in fact, he decided to come back to India because his mission was only to arouse a feeling in the Western world about India and not to stay there and enjoy the luxuries. With those words, my humble pranam to Swamiji, and over to you, Babu. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dada, for sharing your valuable thoughts. I myself share a few thoughts of mine. Once a group of people went to Chandrasekharanda Saraswati of Kanchi Ashrama. They said to Chandrasekharanda Saraswati that Swamiji, we have to defend Hinduism. Many sects are attacking Hinduism, so we have to defend it. Then Chandrasekharanda Maharaj laughed at them, and he was quiet for some time. After that, he said, "Hey, why are they attacking you? First of all, defending Hinduism, forget about that. Why are they attacking you?" He said, "They are attacking you because they think you are weak. You are weak, that's why they are attacking you. Why, how come that you become so weak? Because you are not practicing Hinduism. How many of you are truly practicing Hinduism?" So none of them came forward to answer that. So they are not practicing Hinduism. They couldn't identify what their strength is. So similarly, Swami Vivekananda had a similar problem. Everyone was trying to fight, trying to get the freedom, but they forgot their strength, their real nature. That's why Swamiji, for suppose there is a pot and there is a hole underneath it, no matter what amount of water we put in it, it leaks. It leaks. You can never fill it. So first you have to plug the gap and start fighting it. So what Swamiji did was he identified what are our strength, what is our strength of India. He realized, as Sachin Dada said, the religion, Swami Vivekananda identified religion, spirituality, these are our strength, like renunciation, service, these are our strength. The moment we stop practicing these things in our life, we automatically became weak. So as we became weak, others, if it is not Britishers, someone else would attack it. So it's not just stopping someone is not the solution. Unless we become strong, then there is no point in defeating Britishers. Even if you defeat, for some chance, if you defeat Britishers, someone else will come and attack us because we are weak. So the solution is to make ourselves strong. Make ourselves strong. So how to make ourselves strong? So what are the weak links? He he identified the weak links also. He identified some weak links, and he at the same time identified when we are trying to do something, we try try to understand what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses presently. He identified spirituality, religion, renunciation, service. These are the lines. This is where our strength lies. And at the same time, he understood what are our present problems. He understood the neglect of the masses. We are not providing proper education to the masses, and at the time, neglect of the women. We are not giving proper respect to them, the respect they deserve, and the education also not providing enough education for the women. So these are the problem. So how to channelize this strength? First of all, how to remove these weaknesses, and how to channelize our strength, channelize strength in channelize our strength in the direction of the national interest. So that's why in my plan of campaign, in his lecture in Madras, he said, first of all, feel for these masses and downtrodden people and all these things, all the weaknesses in our system, and with our strength. So he said, with your strength, of course, in the case of in the earlier example, Chandrasekharananda Saraswati, he told them to defend Hinduism, but he said, first identify your strength, then try to defend it. Even in Mahabharata also, Sri Krishna ultimately encouraged Arjuna to fight. But how? Not from the state of weakness, but from the state of strength. First identify your strength, then, as Swami Vivekananda always, do business, do whatever you want to do. Fight for freedom, or do whatever you want to do in life, but first identify your strength, where your strength lies. So he said, first feel for all these downtrodden people, and try to solve their problems with your strength, by knowing your real nature and what is your strength, by practicing, trying to solve it. He gave three practical steps to solve the problem at that time. One is have the feeling for them, feeling for your countrymen, your fellow men, the problems they are going to. Try to help them. Freedom comes later, but try to solve the problem. First, plug the gaps. Plug the gaps. Once we plug the gaps, then we may fill the part. So first, enlighten, like give proper education and all these things. So first, have the feel for them. Out of the feeling comes everything. Once we have love, when there is love, then we are ready to do anything. Otherwise, if there is no love, or there is no feeling, no matter how much intellectually we are learned, nothing will come out of it. So first point he said is feel for them. Second, he said make plans, make executable plans. It's not just feeling. Have proper plans in place, how to execute them, executable plans. And third, he said execute them no matter what. Have the courage to execute. You should not wait for 3 months or 4 months. What happens if I do this, if I do that? He said, death for the cause is our goal. This is his famous statement. Death for the cause is our goal. Like we have a proper noble goal in life, we have to die for it. That is our goal. We have no control over whether we succeed or fail. So he never said that success is our goal or failure. He said death for the cause. We are always ready to die for a good cause. So these are the three steps. First, have feeling for our fellow beings, then try to have a plan, some workable plan. Third, implement it. This is the thing. And after saying all these things, in the end, he said one great statement. He said, our national ship is sinking. If you can help, try to help it. But don't make another hole into it, like by criticizing, argumenting, and all these things. They only create even more trouble for the country. So of course, we are in ignorance. We are not identifying your strength. If you can't identify it, at least keep quiet. But the moment you start criticizing India, what is there in India, how there is no greatness in India, you don't understand. But at least keep quiet. If you can't help it, at least it is good if you keep quiet. But don't put another hole into it. That's what he said. And in the end, First of all, if you think about the overall patriotism, of course, 70 years back, we were fighting with the Britishers. So at that time, you can understand the context. There was a reason to be patriotic. So why should we care about it? Even the word patriotism, what is there for us to think about patriotism? See, Swami Vivekananda's idea of freedom is not. He always look for the freedom at the individual level. Are we free? Freedom at the individual level. If individuals are not strong, if they are not free, if I am not free physically, mentally, spiritually, then I am a slave. A group of slaves who are weak, they cannot defend any nation. They can't defend their own self. So that's why he identified this core issue. Unless the spirituality, the spiritual spark is not ignited in the individuals, then there is no use. No matter how many philosophies we say, how many freedom movements started, unless that spark within us, the individual soul is it came outside, that power came outside, the intrinsic, inherent power came outside and become free. Once a person becomes free totally, then he can defend. He can defend himself, his family, his village, or anything, his nation, in every way. Of course, today that freedom is even more needed. That freedom, because the world is so connected. Earlier, to attack us, someone has to come to our country through sea or by some other means. They have to come and attack. But these days, the society is so connected, like some bank, some financial crisis happened in USA. Suddenly, people here are losing jobs, and so many things are happening. So, in this highly connected world, we are becoming so unless we are so strong, both physically, mentally, spiritually, we become vulnerable. It's not just we become vulnerable; the nation becomes vulnerable. So once we are spiritually strong, we are free. That way, once we become strong, that way we can serve any person with a strong body, mind, and intellect or spiritual with spiritual force. He can help the country by taking up new projects or doing anything, education institutions or anything. A country with a strong people, a country with a strong people can always survive. Actually, this advantage India has now. Even whole world is going through this crisis as of now. So many things are happening, but India is so strong as of now. I think India's glory in the last at least 10 years started recognizing. Actually, it's the West who understood the significance of India, the strength of India, the spiritual power. It's not just the enlightenment, some higher things. This thing can be used for lower things also. Of course, they are using for lower worldly things, but they understood, at least they understood. And yeah, this yoga, meditation, whatever these are not superstitions. These are highly scientific and valuable. They started applying it in their lives. Then all of a sudden, we also started applying it. Applying it, of course, we have so many resources already, so many ashrams and so many things. And somehow I feel it's a good thing. Society as a whole, India is moving towards it, towards recognizing our true nature. And so this is the prospects are so good as more and more people come to spirituality. As Swami Vivekananda said, that is our strength, that is our no matter. Because see, we see all the measurements like World Health Organization and many organizations publish happiest countries and so many measurements they publish. But India never tops those lists. If you see any of the list, never tops, because that is not our strength. Our strength is spirituality. Spirituality. The thing is that the Western world doesn't have the standard to measure these things. No one in the world has the standards to measure. They don't know what if you say Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and all these advanced topics. They don't even understand. Then how can they measure? our greatness is beyond their measure. So they are, so we should not feel uncomfortable looking at those metrics. Why we are not topping those lists? Because that is not our strength, and they don't have the measurements. Even consciousness. Now see, they are doing so much research and so many things, neuroscience, this, that, so much of consciousness. Universities are taking very seriously the concept of consciousness. But here, our rishis solved this many years back. We are still the masters when it comes to consciousness. We are still the masters of that advanced studies. So that's why the whole world, as Swami Vivekananda said, as the science advances, the whole world starts to realize the greatness of Vedanta philosophy, the greatness of India itself overall. So that's why finally what I want to say is that the patriotism, the true patriotism comes when we identify our real nature and try to channelize our strength. Once we identify our real nature, real strength, and channelize it for the welfare of the world, I think that's what Swami Vivekananda wants. That's the true patriotism. That Atmano Mokshadam Jagatita. It helps everyone. I think that's the natural process. Otherwise, one to progress without caring for the world or for the society, it's impossible. When we think I want liberation, but I don't care what happens to the society or anything, that never works. But for the person who thinks try to correct this or do so many things, but he is not thinking of God or noble thoughts or anything, that is also not good thing. That's why the prominent word in Bhagavad Gita is, it's not just Bhagavad Gita, Thakur or everyone says, Sri Krishna says, think of me and fight. Thakur says, just remember me and do whatever you want to do. It means we have to have the strong basis, strong connection with divinity. So we have to always have the connection with the divine source. Then with that power, with that strength, you can always fight with the world. Fight in the sense help. So without having the source, without having the power, if there is no power, fans, tube lights, nothing works. We need the source. From that source, how we get the source? When we are connected with the higher or noble thing, some avatara or something higher. Some are attracted towards Advaitic feeling, that absolute. Of course, ultimately, that impersonal God, personal God, both are one. At least have one fixed for you as a stable source of inspiration always. Then with that source of inspiration, try to do good to the world. That is the sure way to success at the individual level and at the level of the nation also. So this is what I want to say. Thank you so much for listening to me. Now may I request Navina brother to say a few words.
Yeah, namaste. Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Okay.
Yes.
So it was actually very enlightening to listen to so many speakers and reflect back upon my own reading of Swami Vivekananda's ideas on patriotism. I just would like to add, probably summarize a few things. So we have actually seen in depth of Swamiji's intense love for the country and his intense pride in our religion, our national background as a whole. He always used to say that I'm very proud of my country. And the other day we discussed how the disciple and guru relationship between Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda was at the extreme. The purest relationship we could see between the guru and disciple centered upon God. I mean, that, it's quite amazing that Swami Vivekananda and the idea of patriotism are almost equal. Just the way he was so committed to his guru, he was as much committed to the country also. If you ever want to understand India, study Swami Vivekananda. Rabindranath Tagore said. So if you want to understand patriotism, we should study Vivekananda. I think Babu pointed out during his speech, Swamiji said three things. He says are necessary for every man to become great, every nation to become great. And he actually defined patriotism during that course of that talk. He said, they talk of patriotism. I believe in patriotism. I also have my own idea of patriotism. So we all talk of patriotism. Swamiji believed in patriotism, and he had his own ideal of patriotism. And what was that ideal? The ideal was feeling first, feeling intensely for the people, thinking about the greatness of this country, what heights she was in earlier, and now what we have become. So just go back to another 120 years back when Swami Vivekananda was here. We were not having freedom that time. People were poverty stricken. Even today, we see in the depths of many tribal areas, so much of poverty is there. Even in the cities also, almost every city has a slum. But going back more than a century ago, just think Vivekananda walking over this country, watching this helpless state, and he says, do you feel for this and thousands of descendants of sages? We are all the descendants of sages. I mean, always said this. So millions and millions of descendants of sages have become next door neighbor to brutes. It's literally true. So people are sleeping next to the cows and horses and dogs even today. So does it make you weep? Does it make you restless? He says, are you ready to forget all about your name, fame, popularity, everything? Your own bodies also. That is the first step to become a patriot, the very first step. So, what extreme heights Swamiji takes the idea of patriotism into? Are you ready to forget all about your name, fame, your wives, children, and your own bodies? When he said this, he was not simply lecturing it, he was practicing it. You could say he was going around as a wandering monk across India, literally walking on foot, staying on the roadside, eating, not eating many times. So he was feeling for the country, intensely he was feeling for the country. That was the first step. That's the first step to become a patriot. When we feel, we really should ask ourselves this question: do we feel for the country? We don't need to go very far. Just see, if you see a beggar on the street, if you see a poor man suffering, maybe one of your friends, your classmates, a relative of yours, it all comes under that. So do we feel for them? And do we really feel for those poor people? That's the first step. The very first step we have to ask ourselves. And I just want to tell you one incident, though I think we are running short of time, but still I would like to say, because it's an important idea. There is one person, Dr. Balasubramaniam, who is currently the one of the members of the Capacity Building Commission of India. He started this Swami Vivekananda youth movement. They went to some tribal areas near Mysore. Then he was a doctor. Right after his MBBS, he wanted to serve society because he had read Vivekananda. So he thought he will go and serve in a tribal colony. Then he used to go to the hamlets and attend to people there. Once it so happened that a lady had delivered a newborn. So this person went to treat her, and he wanted to enter that small hut. Then she shouted, "Don't come inside." Okay, he waited for some time. Again, he asked, "Can I come inside?" Again, the voice came, "Don't come inside." He was like, he wanted to go and treat and do something. Then he asked why I shouldn't come inside. Then she told, "I have only one sari, and that sari I'm using as a cradle for my child. I have no cloth on my body, so please don't come in." And this happened probably 30 years back or more than that. Yeah, it happened 35, 36 years back. And Dr. Balasubramaniam, even today, he speaks of this. That voice, "Don't come inside. I have no cloth over my body. Even today, rings on my ears. That doesn't make me sleep." So, this is the feeling. So, it's just not about that feeling, but first we have to feel. Do we really feel? This question we have to really and sincerely ask ourselves. We all talk about Bharat Mata Ki Jai, all that as if, we are so much patriotic. But really, when it comes to practice, Swamiji says, patriotism is not a sentimental feeling, but a passion to serve our fellow countrymen. Do you really have it? Can you look around yourself and ask yourself sincerely this question: do you really feel for them? This is the first step. Then Swamiji says, you may feel, yes, many people feel they want to do something, but they don't do. Have you found any out? Babu explained all these things already, just I'm sort of elaborating on this, but because it's important. So then have you found any way out, any concrete method, any practical step to bring the people out of this living misery? That's the next step. So first you feel, then you think something. It's just not enough to feel. Can you do something? Can the feeling be converted into some action? That's the second step. Then Swamiji says, most importantly, do you have the willpower to surmount mountain high obstructions? Even if the whole world stands against you, sword in hand, would you still dare to do what you believe to be right? That willpower. So look at Vivekananda himself was this. When he said feeling, he felt. When he thought of finding a practical means, he did it. He went to America basically only to bring help to India. And whatever he did, you see, everything was after he felt for the country, went around India for 12 years, felt the sufferings of millions of our countrymen. Then the next phase of his life, you see, he thinking about what I can do, what he could do as a sannyasin. As a sannyasin, he thought, we are so many sannyasins wandering aimlessly. Let me bring them together. Such a tremendous spiritual force is there in these world renouncers. Let me organize them. Let them go and educate people. He did that in his capacity. He didn't show any superhuman capacities. As a monk, what he could have done, that's very important. We always think of doing something beyond our reach. Not necessary. You do what you can in your capacity, in your circus, in your resources. That is the important thing. So Swamiji, being a monk, he thought, let me organize this band of monks, and then gradually expand it. So then, of course, he met with so many obstructions, but he stood up and he had that mountain high willpower to surmount all these obstructions. So these three things, Swamiji says, makes us patriots. That is feeling intensely, then thinking what can be done to follow up on that feeling. Then when the obstacles come our way, we stand by what we have decided and go about it. So all these have one basis of unselfishness and love of others. So Swami Vivekananda, I think there are so many things he has spoken. His whole life was a demonstration of patriotism. But this thing stands out to me, and I think we should all try to practice it. If we are really true to Vivekananda, loyal to him, we have to do this. We have been discussing some of these thoughts earlier also. The other day, you said, Swami Vivekananda said, you have come to me, you listened to me so much. Show me by your actions that coming to me has not been in waste. So that's very important. So Vivekananda was a practical person. He expects things from us. He says, more from his disciples than from his own brother monks. So he says, 50 centuries are looking upon us. The future of India depends on us. Let us all work. This is no time for sleep, my brethren. The country is waiting. So this is what we have to remember. And there are so many things that can disturb us and take away our attention. There are many of them, but if we can hold on to Swamiji and get constant inspiration from him and move along the path that he has showed us, we'll be definitely able to do something. So these are my words. Thank you so much for giving me a patient hearing.
Thank you so much to everyone for sharing their valuable thoughts, and thank you so much to everyone who have listened so far with patience. Jai Ramakrishna. Jai Ram.
Jai